Hello everyone and welcome back to my Mountain of Shame, my series where I take a game that I've owned for a while and give it a go, because I haven't played it. So these games are chosen at random, and today I've randomly chosen Across the Grooves. I'm not sure if it's just because I hold tabs, or if there's no music in this sequence here. Oh, volume's off. That's a weird choice. Makes sense. If it's especially if it's going to be sung songs, that'll be fine. Make it large though, just in case I can't read it in time and you miss out on something. Alright, so this is a 2020 game by Novabox, and it's a game that I have on Amazon Prime. So that means that if you have Amazon Prime and you've been using it for a while, there's a non-zero chance that you might have this game. So check it before you go getting it. But if you do like it, I'll obviously put a description, a link down in the description down below, which will link you to the game. But for now, let's get started. I'm loving the aesthetic to this, so here's hoping it's good. Crosscrew is an interactive graphic novel. During an adventure, you'll be asked to make choices which will define how your story progresses. When one of your decisions influences the personality of the main character, Alice, one of two symbols will light up at the top of the screen. The spiral, the lightning, the flower, and the skull. Cross groups, some of the scenes are sung. When that's the case, the lyrics will be displayed in special dialogue bubbles like this one. Of course, you can keep reading at your own rhythm, but if you want to hear the full song, you have to adjust your reading speed to the rhythm of the lyrics. Across the grooves, your progress will be saved automatically. You won't be able to change the decisions you've made. However, the sum of your choices always leads to different scenarios. It's possible to lose in Across the Grooves. Choose wisely. Alice? The interphone buzzes again. I'm putting on my blouse. Alice, can you get that, please? At this time in the morning, it's probably the delivery. Well, John Baptiste has ordered this time. Let's answer the interphone, I suppose. I quickly finish dressing and hurry to answer the interphone. That delivery man, who I thank his patience, tells me in toneless voice, yes, there's a package for me. A few minutes later, I'm back in my kitchen. I made myself coffee, and with a sense of foreboding, I look at the flat, square package which dominates the Christmas table. Jean-Baptiste comes into the kitchen, absently buttoning his shirt. He jerks his head towards me, and to a package and peers at me. What's that? I think it's a record, a vinyl. The shape of the package is so distinctive that my guess is almost a certainty, and the handwriting leaves me no possible doubt. I recognize the hesitant, disjointed handwriting of Ulysses, a record store owner whom I've shared several years of my life with before I met John Baptiste over 3 years ago. I've had no news from Ulysses since the night we split up. Getting a package from him is unexpected, to say the least. Jean Baptiste gives me a quizzical stare. I think it was Ulysses who sent it to me. Your ex? Yeah, I'm just as surprised as you are. I swear I haven't been in contact with him since we broke up. Jean Baptiste moves closer and strokes his finger gently through my hair. You should open it. Maybe there's a note, an explanation. He was part of your life for a long time, and you were part of his. I guess if he's decided to contact you now, it's something important. You're right. Well, I've got to run. My father has some big Chinese clients coming at the castle at lunchtime. I have to organize a meeting with the cellar master. He plants a kiss quickly on my lips. Shall we meet up in the brasserie this evening? I might finish late. I remember that we've planned dinner this evening with my brother-in-law and sister. My brother and sister-in-law. Yes, okay, let's meet there, it's easier. I wait, listening to his footsteps go down the kitchen stairs and fade before I turn to the kitchen and open the package. I need a little privacy to deal with the intrusion of this ghost from my past. I grab a large chef's knife from the kitchen worktop and slide it along the fold, cleanly slicing the seal of the brown packing tape. Inside is a record, 45, a 7-inch as the English call them. It's protected by a white sleeve, white card, without anything written on it that give me some idea of what's actually pressed into the grooves. Knowing Ulysses' passion for rare records, it's probably a white label, a test pressing, sent to the record company by the factory to check the track order and general sound quality before mass production. I carefully slide the record out of its jacket. There's no label in the middle to tell me its contents. What am I supposed to be? What I suppose the A side is just cut one single piece, which leaves one that's supposed to be that it's 45. Suppose it's a 45. As for the B side, it's bare of any grooves. Its black, shiny surface and the record seems to reflect my confusion back at me. Why? And particularly, why now? It's been more than 3 years since Ulysses vanished from my life. 3 years without a word. What could have driven him to send me a record now, without at least an explanation? I checked the clock on the wall above the door. I shall have 15 minutes before I need to leave the office, which leaves me plenty of time to listen to the record, which can't last more than 5 minutes, maybe 7 or 8 maximum. I pick up the packaging to put in the basement basket. I take a moment to inspect it again, checking there's no note or anything hidden in the fold. Nothing. No return address either. Postmark tells me the package was posted from Paris, the 10th arrondissement. I take the record and hesitate again. Do I really want to revisit the past now, before work? Or would it be better to wait till this evening? Honestly, let's listen to the record. I sighed, not, this can't wait. In any case, if I don't listen to the record now, I won't be able to think of anything else all day. Exactly. I go to the living room. The hi-fi has been regulated in the corner of the room behind the couch. As if the current turntable, dust floats up into the room. Jean-Baptiste turns the background noise of the TV, so naturally, I've stopped listening to music since we moved in together. I plug my headphones and put them over my ears. The night is upon me. A dark valley of cobblestone, glittering in the drizzling rain. I take the last drag on my cigarette. That doesn't look like a last drag. That looks like a first drag. I stay out. Oh, interesting. Even the choices of song we choose make differences.
Did you really expect me to? You're tearing me apart. I'm shrinking. You're the one who brought this sand. But it's me who's shrinking. I'm becoming someone else in your absence. Already apart, even in your presence.
Ulysses? Okay, so that was her. He was apparently singing. Okay. Interesting. So that was her who was singing. That was her story. Okay. At least I assume so. Ulysses? He turns, gazes to me sadly. I remember this evening perfectly. The day I met Jean Baptiste. Really? And the day Ulysses and I said goodbye. In which order? Oh, okay. We broke up a week earlier, but had tickets to this concert. I told myself that I didn't want to miss out, that I could handle it. The two of us were sharing the same space for a couple of hours. Big mistake. I hadn't anticipated the wrench I would feel in my heart when I saw him. Yes? I just came to see if you were okay. Sorry? Yes, I'm sorry too. Ulysses saw his eyes, remorseful. I'm going to go. It's a bad idea. Shouldn't have came here tonight. He turns and starts up the road, slouching, his hands in his pocket. For a moment I falter. Perhaps I should let him go, as he does in my memory. I should push my way to the bar, order a double whiskey, and let Jean Baptiste buy it for me. Then go get a coffee with him a few days later. Ulysses. He stops and looks at me, startled. A few strides to catch up with him. What a strange dream. Why did you send me a record? A record? I didn't send you any record. Yes, you did. Arrived this morning. White sleeve, no label? Does that ring any bell? Ulysses looks terrified. You weren't supposed to listen to it. Listen, Alice. You have to go back to the bar. You have to do everything like the first time, like your memory. There may still be time to avoid disaster. But what disaster? Please tell me. I need to understand. Everything I've done for you. Trust me, Alice. I promise you don't want to know more. Around us, the world is beginning to break apart. It's too late. I hear the rhythm far away. It rushes towards me like a galloping horse. I'm engulfed by the music once more. Okay, question.
You're tearing me apart.
Why did he send it if he didn't want us to listen to it?
I'm shrinking. You're the one who grows this sad. But it's me who's shrinking. I'm becoming someone else, and you're upset. Breathing in, breathing out. The variations of me, I tear myself apart. I'm shrinking, I stretch my wings out. I'm someone else, and then I myself again.
Okay. Weird, but chapter 1. Bordeaux. Okay. I stay where I am, sat by the record player, my stars circling the central groove in an uneasy hiss in my ears. Did I fall asleep? What happened? I take out the headphones, replace them, and turn in to rest. I try to get my thoughts in order. I haven't thought of a Ulysses in months. I never understood why we broke up. Our relationship worked. Little by little, Ulysses became distant. I threw myself in my studies and I probably neglected him. Our twin orbits diverged. One day he was gone from my life. Should I have fought? Should I have tried to save what we'd built together? Would it have changed anything? I met Jean Baptiste. He was charming. It was easy. Then I learned from Mark that Ulysses had left Bordeaux. Life went on. I finished my studies. I found a job in a bank. We moved in together, Jean Baptiste and I. We quickly settled into a routine. Weeks, months, years passed without me really noticing. Is this truly happiness? Or is it only a comfortable status quo that I've never had the courage to challenge? I have a strange sensation as if I'd suddenly woken from a long sleep, a sleep that lasted for several years. I checked the time, 9:35. I'm going to be late if I don't leave right now. I put on my coat and set off the short walk between the apartment, the branch office, and the bank I work. I go to the bank and say hi to Martine on the counter, and then I shut myself in my office. I have a stack of files to deal with, but I can't concentrate. I stop at the apartment after work to take a shower and change. Then I hop on a tram to meet Marie, Robin, and Jean Baptiste at the restaurant. I open the door of the brasserie and plunge into the warm fog, the hubbub punctuated by the gurgle of espresso at the espresso machine. Jean Baptiste loves this place. It's just under his old apartment. Plus, Marie and Robin don't live far away. They just had a baby and an evening out from time to time. Well, it's like a breath of fresh air for them. I pass the bar and say hi to Michael, the owner. He seems surprised to see me, but before I can kiss him hello, he's called away from an order from another side of the counter. At the end of the room, Robin's waving to me. I sit down opposite of him. At the end of the table, there's a pram. Marie's gone out to take a phone call. Is everything alright? Oh yes, I'm guessing it's more problems at the christening. If I had any idea what kind of nightmare it was going to be, I never would have let that priest get his claws into my progeny's spiritual life. It's pointless, but it makes Marie happy. And I think it's a good deed. They need fresh meat for their quotas. I really get the feeling that people are getting more and more worked up about this than they do the weddings. And yet, you're not married, so we couldn't really say you've got a reliable point of reference. That's true, but I promise you I'm immune. After all this nonsense. I lean over the pram. The baby is fast asleep. And how's my favorite little niece? Hey, you can see she still enjoys the hustle and bustle, like her auntie. I feel a little hand on my shoulder. It's Marie. She's back, phone with hand in hand, and we hug. Sorry, had to take a call from work. You'd think they'd just been leaving all the files on my desk for me to deal with after my maternity leave. So, how things are with you? Well, you're not going to believe this, but I got a package from Ulysses this morning. Ulysses? Your ex? Himself? That's surprising, isn't it? You broke up, 3 years ago? What was in the package? A record, a vinyl. That's all? No note? Nothing? Yeah, no explanation without any... No, just a record without any explanation. Oh yes, I remember. The record store guy, right? I didn't know why you guys broke up. He was, really cool. Marie glares at Robin, who buries himself back in the wine list. So, nothing of note. It's odd, isn't it? Yeah. And what was on the record? Did you listen to it? Yeah. 45, no label. No idea of the artist or the group. I try to remember the music itself, but I can't seem to recall the melody. It was rock, but kind of sentimental. Perhaps grunge? Definitely something from the 90s. A whole load of memories came flooding back when I listened to it. It's really weird, I really felt like I was actually reliving the past, the night Ulysses and I broke up. Except, clearly it said that it was the week after they broke up that the night was. But, or was that no. Still, a little level for him. No news for years, and he sent you a record now without an explanation. So anyway, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. I have to admit, I'm a bit messed up. On the one hand, if Ulysses decides to send me a record after 3 years of radio silence, it must be important to him, but on the other, without any explanation, I've got no idea what he's trying to tell me. You should stop by his record store. That would be a good idea if he still worked there. He left Bordeaux after you split, didn't he? Yeah, still, it's not a bad idea. Mark, his old partner, is probably the most likely one to know what's happened to him since he left. I'll stop by there tomorrow evening on the way home. I hope he can help clear this all up. Hey, listen, I don't want to hurry you, but can we order? So we can get home before the next feed. Aren't we going to wait for Jean-Baptiste? Marie and Robin look at me bemused. Jean-Baptiste? So because I didn't go into the bar, I never met Jean-Baptiste. And thus I'm not with him. Yeah, he was seeing some Chinese customers today. Shouldn't be much longer. Alice, who's this Jean-Baptiste? I don't know what to say. How can they not know who Jean-Baptiste is? Jean-Baptiste, my boyfriend. You know, we had dinner with you quite a few times. We even spent a weekend together this summer on the bay. Don't you remember? Marie looks worried, and Robin is glancing around nervously. I let a shaky laugh. You're kidding me, right? Are you sure you're okay, Alice? This summer on the bay, you were with an Arthur. You broke up 2 or 3 weeks later. You've never introduced us to any Jean-Baptiste. Robin nods her head in agreement. I don't understand. I don't remember any Arthur. My head is spinning. I stand up, spots in front of my eyes. Robin rushes to catch me from by the shoulder. Alice, you're scaring me. Are you alright? Yes, I need some air. I turn and hurry for the brasserie. Behind me I hear Marie say to Robin, let it go. Let it go. We'll call her tomorrow. Then I'm out on the street. The cool night air helps me collect my thoughts. A little further away on the sidewalk, I make out the familiar shape of Jean-Baptiste. He's smoking a cigarette. The Jean-Baptiste that I know has stopped smoking. We stopped together. I fumble in my coat pocket and pull out a packet of Galoshes, half empty. It shouldn't be there. There's no rational explanation to me why I should have a packet of smokes on me. Unless Jean-Baptiste has seen me, and he smiles at me. I can't stay here staring at him from a distance. I have to take a decision. I don't know if I should turn away or go talk to him. I hesitate. Let's go nearer for now. Find out something about it. I go nearer. Jean-Baptiste runs through his pockets and holds a lighter for me. I notice I still have my packet of cigarettes in my hand. I take one out and let him light it for me. Hey, you alright? The way he looks at me, his manner, those aren't those of someone who's shared several years of my life. He doesn't remember us, either. It's at this precise moment that something is just an impression, a suspicion, kind of out there thought, which couldn't actually happen in real life, strikes me with full force. This man who was making plans with in the future just yesterday is watching me with indifference, mildly disturbed by my distress. I'm a stranger to him and it hurts badly. And now there he is, right in front of me, waiting for me to answer. Try to talk to him. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just, how should I say it? My day's been emotional. I get exactly what you mean. We're on a slippery slope, which I decided not to continue down on. I don't know how I'll react if he asks me what happened in my day, and I know he's just about to do just that. Haven't we met already? Your face looks familiar. I don't think so. I remember you. Do you often drink here? He nods towards the window behind me. Maybe you saw me in there sometime. I come here a lot. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. Jean-Baptiste drops his cigarette end and crushes it with his foot. Sorry, but I have to go. Apparently she did too. You want me to ask Michael to get you a taxi? No, that's kind, but fine. He starts back to the bistro and changes his mind and returns to pick up a cigarette end. He takes a chance to look at me again, as if he was searching for an elusive memory or a word of a tip of the tongue. He flashes an embarrassed smile, accompanied by a good night before disappearing into the bistro. She apparently also dropped hers. I stay where I am, in the cold, dragging on my cigarette, my heart in my shoes. I turn away and head up the street towards the tram stop. First thing I do when I get back to the apartment is bolt the door behind me. I had a feeling of being followed my way home. I'm probably being a bit paranoid, but, well, who knows? Someone breaking into my home during the night would really just top my day off. The second thing I do is go into the bedroom and open Jean-Baptiste's side of the closet. I'm not particularly surprised to find it full of my old clothes that I thought I got rid of. I go in the balcony and light a cigarette. She clearly didn't quit for long. As I stand musing and look at the apartment, as I'm aware of the small number of differences I hadn't noticed earlier in the day. There's no phone charger or small coins in the bowl on the dresser in the hall. The old games console, which had never been plugged in since the move, is no longer under it. It should be never been plugged in since the move is no longer on its shelf on the TV. The big photo of New York has been replaced by a tattered old poster of regional rock music festival. The record, though, still dominates my kitchen table exactly where I left it earlier in the day. It seems impossible, but it's as if by putting the 45 on the turntable, I've truly returned to my past. And as if by choosing to run after Ulysses the night we broke up, I hadn't met Jean-Baptiste at the bar. As if I'd returned to a present where I'm single, where Jean-Baptiste and I never met. I could try listening to the record again to get to the bottom of this, but I'm afraid of making things worse. If it really does have the power to change my past, it could have catastrophic consequences on my life. What do they call it again? The butterfly effect? I hope Mark will help me clear this all up. At least, he should be able to tell me what's happened to Ulysses. I grab my phone and leave an apologetic message for Marie, assuring her that everything's fine, that I'm sorry that I slipped away so early. Then I crush out the cigarette and crawl under my covers in hope of sleep. St. Michael. I realize I hardly set foot in this district since I split up with Ulysses. The store that Mark shared with Ulysses is a little semi-pedestrian street in a corner. I used to come by here almost every day, after my college classes a few years ago. When I push the door open, I'm assailed by the characteristic odor of old records, similar yet distinct from the smell of old books. The big speakers fixed to the ceiling blare out a strident fuzz guitar solo at a volume theoretically much too high for a business establishment. I'd be incapable of saying whether it was some obscure 70s garage band or a post-rock modern movement contemporary trying to find to imitate their elders. Mark is reading the sleeve of interest. Only when I reach the other side of the counter does he deign to look up. He smiles and murmurs something incomprehensible in the din. I gesture to him that I can't hear anything, pointing my ears. He flaps his hand at me, then he turns down the volume on his amp down to something better adapted to conversation. Hey, I was saying they're a local band. Pretty powerful, huh? I've signed them for an EP. Just got the pressing. What's amazing is with Mark is that even though I hadn't seen each other for probably over a year, he behaves as if we spent yesterday evening together. Hello Mark, are you okay? Yeah, everything's cool, thanks. And you? What brings you down here? Hey, have you heard from Ulysses lately? No. Mark seems a little surprised at the question. Now that you mention it, it's been an age. Last I heard, he was in Paris. But when I say last, that was 6 months ago. I called him for a customer who was looking for a Magma original. It's true, we've kind of lost contact since. Mark breaks off. I guess in some way he must blame me little for what happened between Ulysses and me, seeing as how our breakup almost cost him his business partner. Anyway, look, so no news on Ulysses lately. But why do you ask? He sent me a record. I decided to get to the point. He sent me a record. A record? Yeah, no note, no explanation, no nothing. Just a vinyl record in a package. To tell the truth, the only clue I had on me that came from him was his handwriting for the address. Mark watches me with an odd intensity. Did I spark his interest when I mentioned the record? Or something else? Concern? Or fear? Could you describe this record for me? I could do better than that. About to fish the record out of my bag when Mark gestures me to stop. He hails someone who's rummaging in the reggae Afrobeat box behind me. Hey, sir! His target turns with an air of feigned innocence. He's guy's 50. He wears a black leather biker jacket and smug matching pants. His hair, slicked back in a rockabilly style, is, considering his age, improbable uniform black bottle of a hair dye. Can I help you? The guy grumbles in discontent, shakes his head, and saunters towards the exit. Mark waits for the closing door to ring the bell and hang above it before continuing. Did that guy follow you by any chance? Follow me? Yes, follow you. How should I put it? Have you had the feeling you've been being watched since you watched the record? Yeah, I have had that feeling since yesterday evening on my way home. But I figured I was just being paranoid. Why would someone tail me? And anyway, why would you suspect that guy especially? Two things. An old rockabilly who I don't know is in my shop. They're endangered species. I guarantee they all come in here. No exceptions. At least once a week for coffee and a beer. They never buy anything, but they're cool. They've always got amazing stories to tell. That seems a bit of a stretch, but never mind. And? Yeah, a guy in leathers and boots going through Afrobeat box for 10 minutes? If that's not suspicious. Okay, that's very suspicious, you're right. Mark leans over at the counter to check who's actually in his shop. There's only a couple of students giggling in the depths of the shop. One guy meticulously comparing the covers of two copies of Frank Zappa's Hot Rats, the headphones of an open access turntable clamped over his ear. Alright, coast clear. I slip the record under my bag and place it on the counter. It's a 45, white label. Test pressing? No number on the side of the groove. One on the two sides of the mirror side. Yeah, you haven't forgotten the jargon then. After all that time I spent for Ulysses, I think it's lodged in my brain forever. You can put it away. I know what it is. Really? Yeah, it's not a white label. It's an acetate, a single copy. There's no matrix number. That's why there's no matrix number. I put the record back in my bag. Surprised you don't recognize it. Ulysses unearthed it a while before you split up. It's the only record he wanted to keep when he left. Which meant I had to buy his share of the stock. I would prefer that he took his psychedelic shelf, but it would saved me from taking out a bank loan. Did you listen to it? Yeah, once put in the headphones, that was quite enough for me. Oh yeah? Look, I'm no angel, right? I know the effects of psychedelics, mushrooms, LSD, mescaline, salvia. I've tried pretty much everything, but I've never had a trip like the one that record took me on. What did you see? What did the record show you? It's personal. It took me a moment back to a moment in my life I'd rather forget. A turning point, I guess you'd call it. What happened? Tell me more. Look, no, sorry. I'd prefer not to go into detail, but you must know what I'm talking about. You listened to it, didn't you? There are quite a few legends going around about that recording, you know? Some people claim it's the last recording of Delta bluesmen who've made a pact with the devil. It's kind of the holy grail of record collectors, if you see what I mean. Plenty of crazies who say it's got magical powers. If I were you, I'd be very careful. That record attracts trouble. To be honest, it makes me pretty anxious about Ulysses. It's obviously the most precious thing he possesses. Him sending it to you by post like that, it's not a good sign. After everything you just told me, yeah, it's worrying. You still have his telephone number? The simplest thing would try to reach him for the start, right? Mark nods, puts up the headset, hangs a few seconds later. Look, it's sending me to his direct answer phone telling me my correspondence voicemail box is full, which isn't surprising at all for Ulysses. We're interrupted by the sound of a bell that hangs by the door. A young punk covered in tattoos approaches the counter. Without bothering with any courtesy, she speaks directly to Mark. Do you sell me tickets for Sonic Youth? Mark takes tickets from out the counter and makes a sale. I gaze after the young woman after she leaves. Mark clears his throat loudly at me. He watches me with a smirk. I realize I was probably staring at one of his customers, so hardly noticed. That style wouldn't suit you. Do you think? I'm surprised to find myself considering the possibility. Then again, it's not as if my job gives me much leeway fashion-wise. I know I'm not persuaded by my bosses would find it quite as cool as you do. What's going in your head and going to finance? I mean, I'm a personal finance advisor in a little city-centered bank in Bordeaux. It's not exactly what I call going into finance. Anyway, what were you saying? Look, that Ulysses is impossible to reach, and it's not really surprising. I'll give you his address if you want. Do you want to go out to Paris sometime for work? Mark glances paper. It can happen like once a year max. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. Same for me. Just got back from vacation. Kinda tricky to justify a trip to Paris. I've written down as number 2 just in case. Mark gives the paper. The first to hear anything calls the other, alright? Uh-huh. Thanks, Mark. Hey, you should drop by more often. It's good to see you. As they say, don't be a stranger. Yeah, you're right. I'll try to come by more often in future. My apartment looks like a bomb site. I'd sensed something was wrong as soon as I entered the communal areas. The door of the apartment was already ajar when I pushed it open. I prepared myself for the spectacle I was about to confront. Every square centimeter had been completely searched, every closet emptied, every drawer turned out. I pick up a cushion which lays on the living room floor and place the couch before dropping next to it dejected. I realized that Mark's warnings weren't unfounded. Someone really wants to find that record. And that person is ready to enter my house while I'm away to achieve their ends. Was that old rockabilly who was spying me at the record store? He didn't seem particularly dangerous. On the other hand, record with the power to change the past. I totally understand someone might want to get a hold of it, even if that means breaking a few laws along the way. To be honest, I find it a bit difficult to understand this desire to change my past. I guess that personally I prefer to move forward. Anyway, it would be playing with fire, right? The record has already been stolen. It's already stolen my relationship with Jean-Baptiste. If I'm going to figure out how it works, I have to get my life. If I get my life back, the only solid lead I have is Ulysses. I take up my phone and dial the number Mark gave me. Maybe I'm lucky to him. You never know. Apparently not, because I'm also welcomed by the recorded operator's voice telling me the monotone voice that the correspondence mailbox is full. Beneath a number, there's an address in St. Oven. I know what I have to do. The advantage of my enforced celibacy is that logistics of organization of the journey are much simpler. I call Robin to let him know where I'm going. I explain the situation as rationally as possible, admitting, of course, any pacts with the devil. He's kind enough to agree to take care of getting my locks replaced. I also leave a message for my boss at the bank to notify me of my absence. So I leave a few things in the suitcase and jump on a tram and go to the station. 1 hour later, I board the train to Paris. Okay. This is interesting. And it's a mystery. And it's an actual visual novel with a lot of reading. I want to play more of this. And I'm not sure what it goes to when it comes to being a video or not. I may or may not make it into a video. I may just continue playing it. But I think there's one person I want to give an option if they'd like to join me in this. And that's Para. Because Para wanted to play a mystery game with me, and I completely forgot to check if this was one. And it clearly is. So I think this one apparently takes about 3.5 hours to beat the main story. 8 hours for you completionist. Actually, no, it says 4 hours if you do all playstyles. So it's all playstyles. So most people only did the main story, most didn't completionist. But yeah, so basically it takes about 3.5 hours. So we played about an amount of it. We still got a bit more to go. A lot more, actually. If I had to play it again, I think it'd be fun to play it with Para. If not, well, I'll play it on my own. But yes. I don't know when you'll see this video. I might have to push it back a bit so that I can give Para time to be able to do this with me if she is going to do it, or not do it, and then for me to do it myself after I've given her the option to. But I'm really interested in this game. It's got a really interesting aesthetic. It's taking me to a part of the world I really haven't had much to do with. I really don't know much about French culture. Apparently, though, they smoke a lot, is what I've learnt today. So, fair enough. For now, I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you for joining me. This has been Across the Grooves. Remember, if you've got Amazon Prime, it was given out free. I don't know when, but it was given out free at one point or another. So it is very possible that if you've been claiming the Amazon Prime games for the last couple of years, you may already own it. Either way, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.